Hello there.
Hello there.
Kyle Katarn here.
I'm the Bendu.
Coming back for another episode of the Dork Forces podcast. Episode 92.
92, man. We are slowly encroaching on episode 100. And that's so amazing. That's so mind-blowing. And just like, thank you everyone in the chat who's like been with us throughout this entire ride. But dude,
it's been a crazy journey.
Friends. Thank you, best friends, for like putting all of this together and like, yeah.
Thank you for indulging me and coming along for this ride with me. I really appreciate it. Yes. We've had some good times in these past 92 episodes. Dork Forces, covering not just Star Wars either, but like all things nerdy, all things that whatever strikes our fancy. That's kind of the cool thing about having a podcast is like we decide what we want to talk about. And tonight it's Skeleton Crew, baby. We are breaking down episode 4 of season 1 of Skeleton Crew. Can't say I remember no at in. And before we go any further,
spoilers.
Yes. So if you have not seen the episode yet,
out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out!
It's for your own good, right?
It is for your own good. This show, though, has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like, we're only 4 episodes in, and it's already been just like such a ride. And like, I am kind of curious, like, if it's
every episode's been like a mini ride too, like its own kind of ride.
Yeah, like I'm curious if, like, for us, it's been 4 episodes. Like for the kids and for the crew, I wonder if it's also consecutively been like 4 days of them being away from home, because it's like they definitely, I mean, like on that battlefield. I mean, like, hey, granted, when you're stuck in the middle of a different rebellion and you really don't know if you're gonna make it out alive or not, and all of a sudden you see the only adult figure that you know and recognize on the field, like I feel like you're already automatically going to be very happy to see them. But like the way that they were seemingly more familiarized, like I wonder how much time has actually passed on the ship compared to like us as the viewers seeing.
Sure. I do think it's like immediately after. I don't think there's any sort of a skip between the episodes. But like, I mean, I think that Fern's relief at seeing Jod, I guess we're starting at the end and going to work our way backwards, which is totally fine. But like Fern's relief at seeing Jod, I think also kind of like solidified the start of trust building there, because she's the one that's trusted him the least, and like he actually did come in and save them, and like that's going to go a long way towards changing her impression of him. And so I think that's really why she reacted the way she did, not because like time has skipped and they've had this time like developing their, like that was the development happening right then in real time, in my opinion. That's right. It was, man, they gave us so much more like wrinkles to the story, if you will, like with like there's more worlds. It was some kind of project, like it makes me think like Miranda in Firefly Serenity.
Oh yeah,
like those are the vibes that I get from this whole thing. And like, what went wrong? You know, what did Atten do differently that at Akron, Ohio didn't do, you know?
Or like, because like, again, we got to see the first tapestry with the owl lady of there being the 7 jewels of the universe, or 7 jewels of the galaxy, one of the two.
7 jewels of the Old Republic.
Of the Old Republic, yeah. So the fact that we got almost all 7 names tonight, I thought was like absolutely really cool also. And the fact that they're all, seemingly related to one another, as my eyeball just like.
Oh, absolutely, they're related. I mean, like they even have a naming convention in common. But like, are they all like cookie cutter layouts? Or do they all have the same urban planning? How deep do the similarities run? And where do the differences begin? Because clearly there's like a control and an experimental going on here.
Yeah.
One was successful, one wasn't, but like where do they diverge, you know? And each one had their own supervisor. There was one planetary supervisor per planet because they all have this tower, right? Or is it more that there's a supervisor that went between the worlds and that's where they occupied when they were in town, kind of thing?
Right? Like, I guess because again, we're only 4 episodes in, but they haven't disclosed yet what any of the planets are really making, or what the treasure is, even, because it's like, again, like everything that aesthetically, the the broken statue and like the neighborhoods, like everything looks very like USSR. Like everything looks very like just like totalitarian, very like you said, cookie cutter. Like it's not that everything looks cheap necessarily, but it looks
But
like
it's prefabricated.
yeah, everything
Not,
was very like
I
mass
hear you.
manufactured and like put out. And like I'm still I'm still not completely convinced that they're not some sort of energy refinery planet of some sort. Like I'm still not completely convinced just because of like visually how similar all the cookie cutter towns look compared to other examples that we've seen in modern day history of what uh, nuclear power plant neighborhoods look like.
Yeah, no, your Chernobyl analogy keeps getting proven more and more right.
Because like even when America was testing the A bombs, like they created fake little, 50s looking neighborhoods just so that
Yeah,
they could see the
fucking
impact of what the implosion
Nuketown.
was. Yeah, dude. So, but
Shout out
and
to
then
Call
the
of
fact
Duty.
that this new planet, everyone had French accents, which I find absolutely hilarious because at the beginning of our watch, I was like, it's funny, everyone's British, all the British people are bad guys. And then it's like with this episode, it's like, oh shit, we're stuck in the middle of a French Revolution.
Were there a bunch of people with French accents? Because I only noticed the
I
girl
think it was
having
just
a
the
French
girl. I
accent.
think it was just the daughter for
The
what.
leader, her father was decidedly American. And then
Yeah,
she had like, I guess it's French. We'll call it Ryloth. How about that? Because
Milo.
like we talked about it a little bit in the reaction, like how accents happen in Star Wars. And
Mhm.
it's always fun when you find someone who is like not an alien, but like grew up speaking a non-basic language. Like, so they have a Huttese accent when they speak English. Like, this person probably learns to speak basic from either a Twi'lek or from someone with a Ryloth dialect. That's the way. That's the way my head canon works for accents in Star Wars, and I want more accents, especially accented human performances, because like there's so many more nuances to the English language than just like British and American. Like, there's so many accents out there. I want to see them all represented in Star Wars too.
Okay, so legendary human being. I like. Okay, I see your comment, and I immediately want to step in on that one because it's like,
Here we go.
bro. Okay, so one of my absolute favorite things about this episode was not only was at the beginning of it we got to have the reminder that SM-33 is a phenomenal puppet, tremendously
So
amazing
good, dude.
voice acting. Everything about this robot, I'm absolutely falling in love with. But, dude, the fact that we got to get a little bit more backstory into him, and like we got to find out a little bit more about like who his past captain was.
We still don't know who they were,
Like
though.
I can't imagine Captain EO at any point of his tenure ever telling a droid, "Hey, if anyone sees these coordinates, I want you to rip them limb from limb." And that being like the closing mantra of the episode, just like limb from limb, limb
Well,
from
I mean,
limb.
okay, you're thinking of the
Dude,
Captain EO of 30 years ago, and let's be real. If Disney was going to bring back a beloved character 30 years later, they'd pull a Luke Skywalker, and EO would be super grumpy and living in a hut and not wanting to talk to anyone because life happened. Like
because
that
like
seems to be that's in their playbook. So I could see a grizzled old EO saying that.
don't let anyone know the coordinates of this planet, and then if anyone sees it, you physically rip them apart. Just go full cave troll.
I mean, like that. I mean, that's
Go
pretty.
full
That's
cave
pretty
troll
intense.
on 'em.
That's pretty brutal, but it's deliciously piratey. It's like very on brand for a pirate. So I went back and I rewatched the scene where we were like scrubbing the plaques and finding all the names of the worlds and their galactic
Yes.
coordinates.
Uh-huh.
So there are 9 planets total, right, on the tapestry. We
Oh,
only
it's
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. We got at A2, at Akron, at
Acre.
Aravan, at Akoda, and at Atten. So
Is
these
it
are names.
9?
This is new information.
And I've just been gaslighting myself with the number 7 this whole time. Hello, Kuiper.
What up, Crystal? Hey,
Yeah,
thank you so much for the shirt. I wish I had it within arm's reach so I could show the people. She sent me a
yeah.
really badass shirt from Bad Feeling Clothing. You should check them out.
Oh, cool. But yeah, now I'm up. So were there 9 circles or on the tapestry from the owl lady, or like 9 pillars? There was a collection of 9 though.
I believe it's 9. I believe it's 9. I'm trying to find this the screen cap of it now.
Going through the chat here. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays to you as well. I know not everyone is having like winter-ish weather, and like I know that everyone here in the
It's a
chat
gosh darn storm
parts of
over
the
here right
world.
now. It's like a torrential downpour.
9 is 9 rings for the kings of man.
It was 3 for the Elven Kings, 7
Yeah,
for
it was
the
9.
dwarves,
It was
9 for the kings.
yeah, exactly.
The men doomed to die.
They referred to the planet as jewels. Yeah, I remember that part. It was the number. It was the number.
I believe it's 9. 9. If it's 9 or if it's 7. Either way, we didn't get all the names. That was my whole point, is that we only got 5 names. So there's 2 more planets out there whose names we don't know yet.
Yes.
Entirely possible. And I also feel like Jod's reactions to his statements were very sus.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed underwhelmed in a way that makes me think that he already knew what he was going to say, like he was present. But more to the point, it seems like he's like involved, like he's complicit. He was kind of nervous about whether he was about to get like named in this plot somehow. I'm thinking, well, because he talked about how like I'm just like you, I'm lost and alone and stuff. What if he is somehow from Atten, but like he couldn't get home because of the barrier, or like because the planet's lost and the coordinates are gone, but he was on Atten on that ship, and then like I don't know, got kicked out. We've already seen him get kicked out from one pirate crew. What if that's just like a habitual thing that keeps happening to him?
Maybe, but I mean, also the fact that maybe, but at the same time, when he was trying to help SM-33 off of the ship the first time after kind of helping his memory, like he kept saying like, "No, we're here for the treasure," and then SM was like, "No, the warriors. I remember the warriors. The warriors are right here, right now." And then, dude, just seeing all the bodies
in the mist,
all the bodies in the mist, like
that was sick. That was sick.
Oh
yeah,
God.
there was a really cool like Mad Max vibe throughout the episode. It also reminded me of the Warriors. Speaking of Warriors, like it seemed a little bit more militarized than that, but like very much like a gang, like a factional, just little pockets of infighting everywhere. Yeah, the Hattons were cool. It was a cool idea. It was very like, look, Mr. Frodo, like Oliphants. Seeing them roll through town.
Hearing the horns. Yeah, hearing the horns with the slow cavalcade, and then all of a sudden we get to see episode 1 Eopes, dude. Like, that was a treat. And then getting to see the Ithorian piloting the droid tank was also absolutely amazing. Hilarious. I didn't
Come
know
out and play, yay!
Yeah, I didn't know I visually needed that, but just like, and also getting variations of Eopes, because like the ones we saw from the blue didn't have like horns, but like the ones we got to see tonight definitely had more like antelope, like West African views to them, which was like so cool. But like the fact that, and then like 2 episodes ago, we get to see the B1 droid asking if we win. So
And we win.
I really love, like, nostalgia aside, like it's kind of what we've talked about before of the beauty of putting a quilt together and getting to see things from other eras in new eras.
Absolutely. It makes the tapestry feel real.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because we got that in Mando, and then we got it a little bit in with Andor, and then so it's like getting it now is just, it's just more special. Like I know that like obviously us as Star Wars fans continually are going to be like the older generation or like the older crowd, depending on like which trilogy you're looking at. But like, the fact, again, though, the fact that they're able to continue or like the continuity of things just like is always beautiful, and it's always great getting to pull different aspects of different fandoms of the series together and like introducing it in new ways.
And that is always what kind of has really gotten me going the most as a Star Wars fan, is seeing those things from different eras like represented together on screen, because that's when it feels like it's all one big story, because there's, And there's nothing wrong with this, but there's people who are just fans of the original trilogy or like purely fans of the prequels or like they only connect with the sequels and they're not really interested in the rest of it. But
Mm,
for me, it's about the fact that all three of those are connected to one single like living universe. And like so when you see a battle droid alongside like something contemporary or something futuristic, like First Order Trooper or something, it reminds you that it's all real, or at least it's all real within that same
yeah.
universe.
Or like you immediately recognized all of the battle equipment from the Solo movie. And it's like I hadn't seen Solo that many times to be like, oh shit, I recognize that Tinker helmet. But you're
Shout out
like, no,
to
those
the
goggles.
Imperial Infantry, the mud jumpers of
Yeah,
Mimban.
dude, you're like, oh my god, it's the Han Solo goggles. And I was like, dude, I thought he just looked like Kylo Ren's face for a second. Like that's just fucking, that's wild.
Yeah, standard issue Imperial Army Trooper right there. Yeah, the deep cuts. Like it's so much fun for the costume department too, because now that Disney Plus now that they're making shows in every era, they've got a costume trailer full of like Clone Wars era garb. They've got like machinery and junk from any time period that they want. So for them, they're being thrifty and reusing certain assets instead of creating new ones and like saving some money on the production. But for us, we're seeing things that are now artifacts from like that are out of time in the
Artifacts, yeah.
background as cool Easter eggs when like it's like a win-win for both sides because it makes us happy to see these things. And they get to save a couple bucks by not like having to manufacture a whole new, fabricate a whole new speeder. They'll just use the speeder they used on Kenobi, even though that was set 20 years ago. Now it's an Easter egg. There was a bright blue Rhodian in the background, and right next to that bright blue Rhodian was my favorite new alien that we saw. Well, not really new. It was an Ithorian, but like he was green stripes. He had like a totally different like color pattern on him.
Oh, interesting. I
It
missed
was
it.
like dark green and bright green, like really stripy. It was cool.
I
It's a cool
remember
design.
seeing him, but I didn't like see him long enough to be like, was the stripes on him or was the stripes on like the clothing
Thank
he
you.
was
That's
wearing?
where I remembered him from. No, it's on his skin.
Very cool.
It's on his skin. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because the Ithorians have like the long neck. It was all like
Yeah.
green. It's like light green and dark green stripes.
Oh, interesting.
He could have been tatted up. I thought it was a skin pattern, but that makes sense
I
too.
thought it was a skin pattern.
If he was tatted up, that's pretty sweet.
But dude, also like from the writing and scripts point of view,
It's
like
been really fun so far.
the just the difference of philosophy of like this revolution planet that's been just like stripped and fought with war for hundreds of years and has like essentially child soldiers, and then like we just get this great, not really like, it's still pacifist, like we still get this great speech from Neil, but the fact that he's so self-aware and doesn't take insult being called like weak or like he does like he's like, yeah, I am like I'm not the strongest,
He kind of
but
takes it
like,
on immediately. He
he
kind of
knows what
owns
his
it.
priorities are, which is like what's so incredible and like even more so like strong and strengthening, because like he knows so wholeheartedly what is right and wrong, and like without influence, and like is just so true to himself, and like that's so beautiful, like that's so
I mean,
like
it's kind of in a weird way. It's like a rare positive example of someone being a product of privilege as well.
it is a product of
Because
privilege. It is a
because
product of
he's
privilege.
because he has never known scarcity, and so he doesn't even think about twice about sharing his food with the kids, which is seen as an act of like massive generosity in this harsh place where no one has anything. But he's never known that existence, and to him, he just if you need something, he'll give it to you because he knows that he can just grab another whatever that is. He's never going to go hungry. And provides for them.
Yeah.
And this world was supposed to as well. And I'm very curious. Like it looks like a resource breakdown was really like the big issue here, but like what caused it versus, prosperity, or at least assuming prosperity. It seems kind of weird and dystopian, like if you look at it for too long, but like at least everyone has manicured lawns, I guess, in Adad. We don't really know what their quality of life is really like. It seems like they really need to paint inside the lines or else they get like punished. Like we don't know what they do to the people there that don't play along.
Also, something like speaking of script that we don't always get And I think in movies in general, we don't really like, as viewers, get the ability to have this that the sense of world because we only ever get to
Also too.
see visually as a viewer watching a movie, right? We only generally get visual information and auditory information. But the fact that Jod took the moment to like describe to us not only like what the air smells like, but the fact that the air has a taste. The fact that the air tasted like ash, and like anyone who's been in a forest fire or anyone who's lived in Seattle, Washington, or California, or anywhere where forest fires are like a
Oh
thing,
yeah, I know that
you
taste well.
know you know what that feels like and you know what that smells like. So like
Absolutely.
we never really get that in a lot of like space movies like Alien or anything Star Wars related. Like we never really get a whole lot of visual descriptions of what atmospheres tend to be like. And like Star Wars does a beautiful way of visually showing us atmospheres and like planetary colors and all sorts of environments. But it is kind of cool getting more out of touch description of like a place or a planet, you know? Like I'm sure before Alderaan got blown to shit, like when we saw Kenobi,
Hey,
like when we
spoilers, the kids don't know about that yet.
bro, right? But like dude, like watching when we watched Kenobi for the first time, I was like, dude, that whole planet smells like pine trees. Like that whole planet, you know, smells
Smells
like
like
fresh air
alpine
and
goodness.
forest, you know, but like we never talk about it, you know, or like what the fuck, what do you think Coruscant smells like? New York City?
Ugh,
Like, do you think
ugh.
Coruscant just smells like smog and just like pollution the entire time? Or like, do you think they have
I think
filtered
it's
air? Like, you know, it's weird. It's things you don't really or like think about.
It's true, it's true, like, a big part of, like, transporting yourself somewhere else is, like, exploring the other parts of a sensory experience beyond what you see. What would you hear? What would you smell? What would you
Yeah.
taste? And
Fog of Eternal
it's
Soul.
cool when that gets included in the exposition. That is something that I try to think about when I play video games too, is, like, what would this place smell like? You know? It helps me, like, immerse myself in the game too. That's
Brotherhood Smog.
interesting you bring that up because that's specifically something that I do, too.
You think the
Yeah, there's
entirety
dude, if you're dude,
Coruscant,
1313, that's
bro,
not rain. You know that's not rain. Like
Terrace. Terrace. Terrace smells like smog and urine. For sure.
Dude, Terrace smells like
For
raccoons.
sure.
Terrace just smells like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. And Elsbeth burned it to the ground. I mean, it's yeah. Yeah.
Well, that smelled like burning union reps. That was that was just a rough. Oh man, like her episode of Tales of the Empire, it humanized her just enough that like I don't know. It really makes me have complicated
That
feelings about
was
the end of Ahsoka about how she went out. Yeah, I bet Scarif smells good. But no, there was no cleaner air in the galaxy than Alderaan, man. Like the most freshest of fresh air, like nice, crisp mountain air.
yeah.
Not anymore.
Maybe Dantooine, but like
Like Spaceballs
still,
all over again.
still it reminds me of Corvus after Elvis burned to the ground. Dude, like now I'm just having like now I'm just having flashbacks of that, but at the same time, like anyone who's been to Tacoma, Washington, now I'm just having smells of like paper factories, just nasty industrialization
uh,
shit. And I'm just like, bro, and like Tales of the Jedi.
I thought
I'm,
that, but I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna be
dude,
nice to the people of Tacoma tonight.
I
I guess
know.
it's out the window.
Like, but it's like
Out the window.
You bring up Tales of the Jedi, and I'm just like, oh man, remember that time Yaddle got killed by that garage door? But like, dude, but like the industrial district, you know, the industrial
Yeah,
district is smelling
the
horrible
fucking serrated garage door because of course.
because of
Because why
course,
not?
yeah.
Why not?
But
We're
yeah,
bad guys. We have spikes on our industrial egress area.
be happy that you don't have to breathe on Hutta, dude. But like, okay, but like for real though,
Did
like
you know
no
that
one.
Hutta doesn't actually have a yellow atmosphere? That's just the collective BO of all the huts on the planet.
Dude, like I'm
Rising to its
sure.
own gas.
I think it was Anakin. It was either Anakin or I know that someone
Yeah,
has
shout out
made
to
the
the
comment.
aroma. Much
I
love
know
to the
that
aroma.
someone has made the comments of like that the huts particularly smell or the huts like can be smelly, but like Dude, I'm sure it's a very strong, just like fleshy BO smell. Because, like, yeah, snails and slugs don't necessarily have a smell because of like mucus, I suppose.
No, and I mean, like, I
That's
don't
a
know,
lot of
because like
blubber. That's a lot of flesh, and that's
they're
a lot
also
of
extremely rich, though. Like they can afford to be super hygienic. They can be scrubbed by droids head
flower
to toe.
petals. It's true.
So I
Yeah,
feel like if a hut is stinky, it's a choice. It's like a power move in of itself
absolutely, absolutely.
against non-huts, because huts can take it. They don't care about the smell.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah, Jod does say Tales of the Knights, which makes me think of Tales of
Okay,
the Jedi,
that
and
was
also
something
Knights
we
of the Old
wanted to
Republic.
talk about. That was something we wanted to talk about. Katarn was really trying to break down the 100-year sleep in his head and was like writing it down for a hot second. So yeah, let's break this
Oh
down.
well, no, I was just thinking that when he said like talked about the Tales of the Knights and how one slept for 100 years, it made me think of Revan because, and what it turned out I was thinking of was the 300 years that he spends like in suspended animation between Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO, and that's at the hands of the Dread Masters that are doing that to him. But I doubt that is being referenced here, so I don't think that's necessarily what they were talking about. It could be any knight.
Any knight that's been sleeping for 100 years, because like I know
Nigeria smells like a litter box, and you know that's true.
oof, yeah.
Jabba. No, I feel like he's got like a rich leather and sandalwood kind of smell. Something musky, after all,
Cumin, dude, he smells like
but not
Indian.
bo. But not bo.
Bro, I bet he smells like cumin and Indian food. Absolutely.
I mean, he smokes a lot of hookah. That
He,
probably stains everything around it a little bit. That smoke.
mm, that's a good point. That is absolutely a good point. He does hit the hookah quite some time. You know who does smell like BO? Bib Fortuna. You know who probably doesn't clean himself? Bib
Which
Fortuna.
character in Star Wars smells like Axe body spray? You know who it is? You know who smells like Axe body spray? Toro Calican. That's who.
That's fair.
Yeah. In fact, he got an endorsement from Axe before he joined the Bounty Hunters Guild.
That's fair. Han smells like Axe body. I could see that. Young Han, absolutely.
Nah, dude. Han smelled like patchouli, if you know what I mean.
Nah.
Yeah,
I can see Chewie. I can see Chewie smelling like patchouli.
And that's the good news. You want Chewie to smell like just cover up the smell,
Yeah, eucalyptus. Dengar smells. See, droid horror.
Nah, dude. Lando doesn't smell like Axe. Axe is not like Lando's got the good stuff.
Yeah, dude. Lando goes to
like fancy cologne.
Absolutely.
Fancy cologne.
He wears.
Yeah, Lux Bonteri, he's an Axe body spray guy. Dude, you are being generous that Dengar even wears deodorant. Dengar is a mess.
Droid herder and I, we get it. Yes.
Dengar smells okay. Granted, he smells like Axe once Manaru convinces him to finally wear deodorant, but the whole time before the War of the Bounty Hunters, he just reeks of BO. He does not change his like diaper wraps either. His like toilet paper wrappings all over his body. He doesn't change that thing. He's got one wrap, and he has to wear it every day, or else he's naked. So I don't make the rules. Pablo Hidalgo can fact check that if he wants.
Gar Saxon. Well, no, I take that back. I retort. Gar Saxon uses some pretty expensive.
Gar Saxon smells like gunmetal, and I don't know.
Maybe. No, he definitely he buys his shit from Sephora or like Express. Lando keeps a travel size on him. Oh, dude, absolutely. Absolutely. Like Lando, he probably has a collection of different smells that he has and keeps in different tiers depending on like the day, the type of dinner, or the type of person he's about to hang out with, if you catch my drift.
I feel like Mon Mothma is old school. I feel like she's like Chanel No. 5.
Gar Saxon's own name is a fragrance.
Gar Saxon, because you're worth it too.
Are you manly enough to wear Gar Saxon?
New Mandalorian perfume.
Dude, Maul wears Axe.
I wonder
Maul,
what Beskar smells
absolutely.
like. I would wear a Beskar scent.
Dude, I could absolutely see Maul keeping a can of like
No.
Boss smells like Zeb or Callus smells like Zeb. Wow. That's
Oh man. Oh man. Han smells like a Nerf. I mean, he is a scruffy looking Nerf herder after all. Yeah, Crystal, that was pretty good.
Gar Saxon smells like cheap whiskey. Nah, dude, you know who smells like cheap whiskey? Fucking Ram Koda. Fucking old man Ram Koda smells like whiskey. I'll give you that shit.
Ram Koda, dude. Well, are we talking early Ram Koda or later Ram Koda? Because early Ram Koda smells like success and determination. Later Ram Koda smells like that powdered shit you put on the floor at the bar to clean up puke spills. That's what old Ram Koda smells like.
That's what blind Ram Koda
Dude, yeah,
smells
when he's blind and they find him on Cantonica, like that, he does not. He smells like a urinal cake, dude. Like he's
so
nastiest, like
It's so
down and out.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What does Dinjarin smell like? Class. Dinjarin smells like he smells like good, but at the same time he also smells like is that a bench? Like dude isn't smart. You know, like dude isn't
You know, I think you got the right answer here. I think he smells like sweat.
Dinjarin?
Dinjarin, I don't know. Like the is that a bench? Kind of hits it on the head. Like he's got certain aspects to his personality that are kind of very like Arrested Development, and it makes sense with his life story that he has certain life skills and really doesn't
smells like
have
Old
others.
Spice. Dinjarin smells like Old Spice.
I don't know what his hygiene situation realistically would really be like. You know,
He's religious. He washes. He just keeps it covered. But like I could see him using
sure.
Old Spice for sure. He smells like Harrison Ford.
I think he smells like whatever oils he cleans the Beskar with. He just smells like Beskar, head to toe.
Dude, that's what it is.
One time he tried to use like a glass cleaner and he came out and the whole covert was like, oh my God, what the hell is that smell?
Hondo and Naka, dude, Oscar, are we breaking that down? Dude, Hondo and Naka, he smells like Jamaica. Are you kidding me? Not even weed. Dude, Hondo and Naka probably smells like spiced rum, cinnamon, and like tobacco. Like, dude probably smells like a Black and Mild.
He
probably
smells like all of the bags that get held back at customs for random screenings.
Yeah.
That he has that funky smell. That's Hondo Onaka's smell.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he smells like a strong, hearty sativa. That's what he smells like. Nailed it. That's Hondo, all right.
Palpatine doesn't shower. Okay, so Palpatine.
You know who smells like Axe body spray though? Apparently, is going to be Rod of the Hutt because I hear that he's supposed to be like friggin' ripped. He's going to be like a built Hutt when we see him.
Okay, so Palpatine smells like talcum powder. Let's first not lie about this. Anyone who has seen Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and they remember the scene with Ronan getting ready and he does the whole ritual, like the blood thing, and then you just see the people throwing like the baby powder on his armpits and like covering him. That's Palpatine. He's covered in talcum powder, and then he puts on his robes for the day, and like he doesn't smell like anything. That's also what's creepy about Palpatine.
After he somehow returned, he smells like formaldehyde. Would be my guess.
Let's not discuss Palpatine's aroma. Okay, but when he is on Exegol,
we're going down a dangerous road right now, Bendu.
He smells okay. So when Palpatine's on Exegol, though, for real, he probably and like when we were in that gestation tank with like all the experimental Snoke clones, totally probably smells like an old folks' home. Absolutely, probably smells.
Smells like the little medical ward.
Yeah,
very sterile with like medicine smell and stuff.
Theoretically, Camino could smell like that too. Theoretically, Camino could smell very hospital. But at the same time, Camino is also very like ocean planet. So if it's salt
thank you. Yes, Dinjarin smells like WD-40. Because he has to come on. He's got to be coated in it nonstop, or else he'd be like every time he makes a movement, like the goddamn Tin Man. He's
But
very
dude,
well,
but that's
very
why
well
he's smart.
lubricated bounty hunter.
That's why he's smart, though. Din Djarin, not all the Mandalorians did this, but something that I did appreciate about Din Djarin's design is they did kind of take a page out of the Game of Thrones Winterfell book, in that like all of his armor is separated by like leather plating, and none of the metal is really touching other pieces of metal except for the chest piece. So it's like if he is ever in a cold climate, or whenever they're flying in the air, he doesn't have to worry about like the armor getting stick together because there's enough
Right.
fabric in between.
It is a really brilliant design, because I mean, like they're wearing flight suits because
Yeah.
they fly with jetpacks, and so they just have armor mounted on the flight suits, and so they can insulate that as much as they need for the cold. Like they can wear that in space with very little modification. So like clearly it's like nice and sealed up. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how we ended up like talking about who smells like what. Historically, a very dangerous game to play, but in terms of the episode, like I think, like you made a prediction, I made the same prediction a couple episodes ago too, where we were talking about like Neil and his journey and how he's going to find his courage, and like he will have a scene at the end of this show where he asks Runa, right, out on a date. His Rosie Cotton.
Like I don't remember her name. I just remember she was green, and like, did she have feathers? Or no, she wasn't green and feathers, but I just remember she was a green person for sure.
That's canon, but
Yeah,
I may revoke canon status depending on what the answer is.
that's fair. But yeah, no, Neil's great, but him having all these experiences, and then at the end of this whole show having the courage to say hello to the girl he has a crush on, like I hope that happens. Just like sideline. It's not that it has to happen sort of a thing, but it would be cute if that's like part of the journey.
I mean, I think that because that's part of the big 80s tropes too, they're like the scaredy cat kid has to find his courage along the way of the adventure. And like Neil has definitely already gotten so much of that development, and he's showing what he brings to the table already. Like he has so much like altruism and like wisdom beyond his years to people on this planet that really need to hear it too, Like it's a depressing situation. Like, and it's very eye-opening for these kids. It's got to be such like a mind fuck to have. Not only you've just been connected to the larger galaxy around you, like up until very recently, they thought Ad-Aton was it, but now they're finding a planet that's kind of a copy of theirs, but in a very like negative and scary way. That's got to really mess with their heads at least a little bit,
Dude, I mean, this was the first episode we saw Fern show emotion. Like this was the first time Fern had a breakdown and was just like, I shouldn't have been captain. You should be captain. To what's his nuts?
To Wim, yeah.
Wim, who like found the ship in the first place. And yeah, no, there's this. I think there's a lot of growth for all of them. Shout out to our girl KB for having the cleanest shots.
KB the Deadeye.
Just like being badass to the end, dude. Like I think she's just gonna be the silent Swiss Army knife of the whole group, and like I'm more excited to see like her do shit, but then also just like she's
Data from the Goonies. That's who she is.
Yeah, dude. But like the funniness of getting to see the anti-aircraft cannon and like the revolutionary kid like talking to Neil and be like, yeah, you're smart for not liking any of these weapons. Let me show you the good stuff. And I was just thinking tank. My brain was just like, oh, dude, we're going to get to see the droid tank. We're going to get to see some episode 1 goodness.
Now, V6 rotary blaster, which is also a pretty sweet thing to find. Yeah, man. No, it was great. And yes, the last episode was KB. This one was Neil. I think the next one will probably be Fern, because I would count the first 2 episodes as like Wim's story, if you will.
Yeah, because we still do have a few episodes left, thankfully. So like this story is so fun. It's so fun and so short. Like this episode was only 38 minutes, which I think we did a pretty good job being able to cover so much of it. Again, the puppetry going into SM33 and us getting to see like his POV.
Such a good physical performance.
Dude, the fact that Fern like had the simple but brilliant, fucking just like mind-blowingly brilliant idea of like, oh, we'll do a memory override. You can do that? You can do that?
You
You
forgot
can
you could
do
restart
drugs?
and just
What?
open the program again, but with
What?
administrator privileges. Boom,
Like,
solves so many problems.
that's amazing. That's so simple and so stupid. What?
It makes you wonder about the rise of Skywalker and how 3PO was not able to translate the Sith dagger because he was forbidden.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they do a memory override on that and be like, we're overriding your protocols, translate the damn dagger?
God.
Maybe it's just because it's a pirate thing, you know, it's part of his specific programming.
That could be because he's an illegal.
He's not a protocol
illegal
droid. He's not a protocol droid.
Dude, that makes sense because think of HK-47 and like anything that's assassination related within droids is highly illegal. Therefore, assassin droids aren't.
Also,
verbally
he's
allowed
definitely
to,
3PO is definitely lawful good, and so will abide by any sort of New Republic statute about
exactly.
it's forbidden. But like SM-33 does not seem like someone who cares about breaking the rules. Well,
He's not a Republic droid.
like he'll abide by the pirates code for like.
Well, he'll
super
yeah, right.
seriously. But I mean, like the rule of law, you know, the man. He doesn't. He's down to stick it to the man.
Zelvi 176. Dude, for real.
You're not the first one to think this. I think this too, actually.
Dude, the little rat was definitely like pulling on wires at specific times. That people.
It's like a full blown. It's a Ratatouille situation. It's got a whole control room inside the head.
Yeah.
So have we ever heard SM-33 speak when the rat's not in his body?
Yeah, right. No, not yet.
The little rat's going in there onto a megaphone, and he's like, "There are some who call me SM-33."
Dude, could you imagine? He's just Wizard of Ozing it the whole time. The rat is
the rat is the supervisor. Okay, we've officially gone off the rails. We have lost the plot.
We're going full Harry Potter. The rat knows something, dude. The rat knows everything. This is what we're.
SM-33 does not remember arriving at Atten. We have not even asked the rat if the rat remembers arriving at Atten. We don't know how old this rat is. We don't know nothing.
It's true. Did you notice him smoking when Jod was questioning him? The robot.
The mouse or the robot?
Or the mouse.
Do you mean smoke was coming out of him, or do you mean he like lit up a
There was smoke coming out of him. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. That's true. He was doing something.
You're right, he was.
I don't know if he was cleaning or if he was building something. Rat-hatting. That's funny. Rat-tata. But yeah, no, there was definitely, again, the details with this puppet and like the scrunchiness every time his head moves or like his getting taller like initiation sequence is so cool. He's so broken and like so just like even looking at his skull on the flag behind you, I'm just like, he's such a solid design.
It's it's fantastic design, and it's been brought to life in such a masterful way. Like you keep saying, the puppetry is some of my favorite that I've ever seen, and I love how many legacy aliens we get to see and how brightly and vividly colored they are too. Like I've noticed that in like a lot of times in other trilogies, they kind of muted them out. You know, like a lot of aliens are suddenly all flesh tones and like really like muted pallid colors. But like if you look at the Clone Wars, if you look at the original trilogy, they're so bright, like neon green, bright orange, bright purple. And we're seeing more of that again. And that feels a lot more authentically like, you know, it really, like I said, visually connects it back to those earlier installments. It feels like it's part of that same galaxy with those same kind of aliens.
Yes. It's Outer Rim, dude. It's the Outer Rim.
Yeah, they have. They fully have. Yeah, this show is just so much fun. I guess that's my takeaway from this and every other episode so far. It's just that I'm having a good time. I'm waiting for some sort of like a massive revelation to be dropped. Maybe it'll be what Atten's real role in all this is. Maybe it'll be the identity of the supervisor. And maybe there won't actually be a massive revelation in this show. And you know what? That's okay too, because it doesn't really have to be. And I guess I do have to, you know, be wary of falling victim of my own expectations. So I'll keep that in mind moving forward too. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this up here?
You can find us on various social medias. Hit us
sure can.
Leave us comments and questions on what you've appreciated and liked so far about the show or other Star Wars shows or other projects. It is, it's close to Christmas time, which means Emerald City Comic Con is only a few months away in March. So if you happen to be in
Very
the
good theory.
Seattle area, or if you happen to be in the Comic Con spectrum of things, let us know.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. Please weigh in if you have a comment or question or something to say. And if you can make it to the Comic-Con meetup, there'll be more information about that later. But yeah, it's always really fun whenever we get a group of people together. We always have a great time. So if you feel like coming out, you should come on out. And yes, the supervisor being SM33's old captain is something that I've thought of as well. There's a pretty good chance that that's what it's going to be. Thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Yeah, may the force be with all of you. We will be back next week for another post-episode breakdown for episode 5. Thanks again, and as always, may the force be with you.